to Bloomberg Sports. I'm Simon Miller. I'm responsible for Bloomberg Sports in Europe, and I'm going to take a few moments of your time to explain a little bit about Bloomberg Sports before we get into the real meat of the show, which are our wonderful panelists who will be joining us shortly. Bloomberg, as I'm sure you know, has provided analytics for the financial world to help them make money for over 3 decades, and phenomenally successfully as well. 4 years ago, Bloomberg Sports was formed when a couple of Bloomberg executives in New York were driving to work bemoaning the performance of their fantasy NBA teams. And here they were spending all week working out how to help their customers, the banks, make money from data and analytics. And they'd been sweating all weekend with a miserable effect on their NBA teams. And so they figured, well, how can I put all of that good work to far more important things than banking and derivatives and equities? And running a successful fantasy team was clearly far more important than that. And so they pitched the concept of Bloomberg Sports to the senior management in New York, and roll forward several years, we are now providing that same level of service to bettors. And that really is at the heart of what Bloomberg Sports does. And over the past 18 months, a team of Bloomberg programmers and engineers, all leaders and innovators in the field of analytics and data, have used their knowledge and experience to produce for sports data on NFL and Major League Baseball, and in our case football, to produce phenomenal analytics. Of course, being Bloomberg, we've used those insights and forecasts from our engineers to power a content team. And we use that content for all manner of compelling stories and tweets and blogs and TV programs as well. And that sits on our site, statsinsights.com, and I'd welcome you all to take a look at that when you have time. There, in addition to the analytics-driven football articles, you'll find live TV segments that we broadcast every Friday globally, go out of this office 3 floors up from here, featuring Ben Littleton and Dave Farrow, who you'll see more of later today. And it's all based on the accuracy that's coming out of the work that's done by the team of engineers in New York. Each Friday, we throughout the season, we look to take that accuracy and apply it to finding value in the betting industry. And as the name suggests, the value finder is based on finding that average versus an average bookmaker price. And I'm pleased to say that that is proving to be a very successful endeavor. On Mondays, each Monday after the weekend's football, we use that same algorithm to find out the review of. We run a review of the weekend's football and find the top 5 players in each position: goalkeepers, defenders, defensive and offensive midfielders and attackers, and we pit players across the leagues against the performance that they have on the pitch, and we look at hundreds, if not thousands, of data points on every player live in real time, and produce a top 5 in each position each week. And on your seats, you should have found our all-star team of top 11 players so far this season. We recognise that La Liga has, unfortunately, a couple of rounds to go, so it's not there is some work to do there, but we've produced a top 11 of European all-stars and a BSports football power top 50 across the European leagues. And as a Newcastle fan, I asked how long the list needed to be before there was a Newcastle player on there, and I'd say I'm still waiting for that number, and I think it's well into the hundreds before we get to a Newcastle player. But that's the content that's powered by the forecast. But the real core of the product is this analytics tool, and we are setting out to help bettors beat bookies. We launched Match Analysis in October 2012, and now have what we think is a phenomenally accurate, or that we know to be a phenomenally accurate algorithm. And on over 50,000 markets in the betting season, all in real time, we are producing very, very accurate forecasts. And what you're seeing here is the end position of the Man City versus Norwich game, which ended 3-2 to Norwich. And in real time, that graph will unfold throughout the game. And in-play is very important for betting. As I'm sure some of you know, 70% or thereabouts of the turnover for many of the online bookmakers is now taking place in play. And crucially, we know that calculating the true price of matches is difficult to do before the match. It's very difficult to do in play. And it's extremely difficult to do in play across a number of leagues that we cover. So we think that our match analysis has got a massive competitive advantage in this area and will solve this problem, again, to help bettors beat bookies. It's not easy. Beating bookmakers is a difficult thing to do, which is why the vast majority of bettors lose money. But accuracy that we've demonstrated so far has been very, very good. I'm just going to show you one more slide which shows the stats that we include within our program to help us give a little bit of substance to the forecasts. We're never going to tell you exactly how the algorithm is derived, but a lot of it comes from obviously the possession, the crosses, the corners, all that kind of thing is part of that. And so we provide all that information within our match analysis product as well. But the accuracy is the core thing, and across 1,859 games, we've identified value of 5% or more in 870 of those games. In other words, our model said that the bookmakers' prices were out, for allowing for margin for 5% or more. And if you'd used our application to guide your betting, you would have generated a return on investment of over 6%. And this is a fantastic return in the betting world across that number of games. So the promise of the Bloomberg analytic capability, I think, is being delivered by our engineers day in, day out. And I think this is a step forward. In the next few months, we'll be adding features to match analysis to make it that bit easier for people to take advantage of these forecasts and take action as they want to, and however they're going to use that information with their betting strategy. And I'd like to offer you now, if you leave your business cards in the tubs that will be here at the end of the evening, we will be drawing out a couple of people to get a free Platinum Value Finder product that we're going to be launching in the autumn. So please leave your contact details in the collection tubs towards the end. But most of all, I want to introduce you to our panel. So thank you for joining us today. I'm going to hand over to Chris Elser, the Bloomberg News sports editor, who's going to introduce our brilliant panel. I hope you enjoy what I think will be a fascinating discussion about football, finance, culture, and economics. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity to ask questions. And finally, I'm pretty certain that the phrase Teutonic efficiency will come up tonight. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Chris and allow the panel to present themselves. Chris.